Welcome. You're listening to the Rutten River Pursuits podcast. Join our epic pro staff around the Sonic campfire for stories and adventures from our eastern mountains to the Chesapeake Salt. Let our highs and lows inspire you to take to the outdoors.
Hey guys, this is Uncle Catfish, and you're listening to the Rutten River Pursuits podcast. What an amazing morning. It's Memorial Day weekend, and my brother Will surprised me with a fishing trip up north. We're all the way up in New York, Sodus Point. We're hanging out with Captain Jim on the Diamond J charter, and what a morning it's been.
Yeah.
Before we get into what I caught, because we have caught some epic fish, let me explain to you what the place looks like this morning. So, as we're out here on the water, it's Lake Ontario, and I was picturing like a choppy, rocky boat. No, it's like almost glass. And this morning, it's like 50-some degrees out, so it's foggy, 360 degrees around us, and visibility's probably half a mile, and this morning it was maybe a couple hundred yards.
Yeah.
And the gray water matches the gray sky, so at times you can barely tell where the water stops and the sky starts. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's pretty much the exact opposite of South Carolina when we went down when it was bright, sunny, 100 degrees out,
right?
And we were melting. It's just a gorgeous day today.
Were you thinking about the Edmund Fitzgerald whenever?
Yeah, exactly.
When you think of the Great Lakes?
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was, wearing life jackets, hoping not to fall off, 30-foot seas, but it ain't like that at all. This is a lot like what we kayak on down at Lake Mead.
Yeah, it's
just a much bigger pond.
Very clear, very fun.
And so we're out here targeting, we're trying to catch some steelhead and some lake trout. And, now, I guess we catch browns out here too. But, this morning, man, we're really slamming some really nice lake trout. So, Captain Jim.
Yes.
How long you been doing this, buddy?
This is my 30th year in business here, fishing out of Lake Ontario. I've been in the Sodus Point area for about 26 years of it, and I've really enjoyed myself. It's a great fishery.
Yeah,
it really is.
It is the smallest of the Great Lakes. For those people that don't know it, Lake Ontario is roughly about 240 miles in length.
Yeah,
it has an average width of close to 60-some miles, and it has a depth that exceeds several hundred feet.
Yeah, the deep lake.
Cold water. And out of Sodus, we're very, very fortunate that we don't have to travel very far, because pretty much for every mile we go out, we pick up close to 100 feet of water in depth. So as we speak now, we have beautiful water, and we are a couple of miles offshore, and we've been fishing between 100 and 200 feet of water going north-south all morning.
Gotcha. Yeah, and we're doing great. Will's caught a slammer.
You'll hear in the podcast here a little bit later on, Uncle Catfish here doing a little bit of a play-by-play. Mm-hmm. But it's definitely my biggest lake trout to date. And
it's the biggest lake trout I've ever seen.
Anything I've ever seen as well, yeah.
Yeah, they
What's on the bigger side, what do they get lake trout?
I have caught lake trout as large as 32 pounds.
Yeah. Wow.
That one that we have in there is probably going to tip the scales close to 16 and a half, 17
double
pounds.
Double what I caught.
Holy mackerel. I couldn't imagine.
It's a very, very nice fish. They give you quite a fight, especially on light tackle. I mean, right now we're catching fish that are well above the 10-pound category, and we have 10-pound leaders on, and we're trolling. The main line is only 12-pound test.
Yeah.
We use a fluorocarbon leader so that our presentation isn't as visible to them. But nonetheless, it's a very light line, and you really do have to finesse them to get them in, especially since we have about 12 or 13 rods out right now.
Yeah.
How long did it take me to get that in there? I really wasn't able to have a concept of time. Just tired arms.
10, 15 minutes.
Yes, a good solid 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And like you said, it's finesse. You're reeling down. You're leaning back and pulling up and reeling down and leaning back and pulling up.
It seems like slow motion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's smooth. and slow rod movements to keep tension on the fish. And and Captain Jim's right. I mean, these Akumas, these lightweight Akumas with these rods, really make these fish feel like sharks. I mean, it's amazing. The lightweight tackle with big fish out here is awesome.
It's a fight and a half, that's for sure. You definitely feel it when the big ones are just dragging out line.
Mm-hmm. And we're out here right now. It's foggy out, so I mean we can't see the bank in any direction, but the water's calm, and we have all these really beautiful little birds constantly landing on the boat. And there's one right beside me, actually. It's a little black and yellow bird. And apparently, I guess, Captain Jim, they just get tired of swimming across the lake, and you got someplace to land.
Yes. What usually happens with them, whenever we've had yesterday we had a pretty heavy west wind. And usually what happens is they get pushed around because they probably weigh, if they're lucky, about 3 ounces. They're like a little finch, a little barnyard finch. And they get blown out into the lake itself, and they somewhat get disoriented, so they don't know which way is back to land. And they pretty much will park on any boat they can find because they're exhausted until... Yep. Sometimes they'll stay on the boat even when we run back in, and then once we hit the dock, they're like, wow, okay, I see a tree.
Thanks for the ride.
Exactly, and then away they go.
Well, if it's 240-mile lake, I'm sure they get pretty tired flying out here not being able to see land.
If they continue to fly north, they will not see land till about 68 miles.
Yeah.
So they're not likely to make that trip because they're not.
Out there.
And if they land on the water at this time of the year with the steelheads being pretty much feeding on the top, they're probably going to be somebody's snack.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So but you'll see them landing on the rod tips. They'll actually get in the boat. They'll land on your head.
I see that.
Land
They're
on
all
your
over
hand.
the place. Yeah. Finchy whopper ploppers.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No, it's been such an amazing morning. I'm so used to going out fishing, taking people fishing, and doing a lot of the work, which makes me happy. But reeling in bait and setting kayaks up, no matter what we're doing, Will's really gone out of his way to make it so that I can sit back and eat M&Ms today. I haven't had to do anything, and it just feels, I'd like to say awkward, but amazing.
Yeah, I'd like to think, as of right now, mission accomplished here, to get you out of your comfort zone just a little bit. And just have a relaxing vacation. It's not your MO. That's not what you. I didn't know if this was going to be hard enough for you.
Oh, it's been awesome.
But Jimmy's been great. He loved coming up here. It's my 3rd trip, and Leanna's 2nd trip, and it never disappoints.
Yeah, and if you haven't been up here, Will's been up here multiple times. This is my first time to Sodus Point. The little town is quaint. It's almost like goes back in time a little bit. Like it reminds me of like a New England style environment. And they have like a 20-year flood this year.
Right there, we got a good one going right now.
This is like a 20-year storm up here, and Lacey's got a fish on right now. So, real, baby.
Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna play by play while Lacey's on the rod.
We still have Captain Jim on the headset with us. So
yeah,
he could jump off at any minute now.
And this is Rutten River Pursuit's first podcast while being out on a charter, and we're going to try to bring you more of this because it's just way too much fun to podcast out here.
I like it. I like being in the studio, but this is better.
Oh my God, yeah! Do it, Lace. So Lacey Fry, small fry's on the rod right now. She's got a good fish. She's reeling it in. We have line counters on these Akumas, and she's still 120 feet out from the boat. And, so Sodus Point, guys, come on up here and go fishing with Diamond Charter and Diamond J Charter. This place is amazing. I was getting ready to say the 20-year flood happened this year. Like every 20 years they're due for a flood. Unfortunately, a lot of the people up here are saddened because a lot of the houses are flooded.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's quite a bit of a mess. This is the deepest it's ever been.
And she's got a steelhead.
Steelhead, she's flipping.
Yep. She's got a steelhead, and it's acrobatic jumping around.
Captain Jim is on the move. He's the net man, and he is awesome at it. He's got this. How tall is that net?
Oh, it's every bit of 10, 11 feet.
10, 11 foot, and he's just wielding it like...
Steelhead in the net.
Yes.
Nice little steely.
Good job, Lace.
That is a nice steely.
Good job, babe. Nice one.
Perfect.
Steelhead on the boat, live from the podcast. Oh, it's gorgeous. It's super dark on the top, has a super definitive black line right down through the middle of it, like a charcoal line, and the bottom of it is just solid silver and bluish color. The bottom fins, so the pectoral fins on the bottom of it are almost translucent white. Yeah, they look translucent. And the top of this fish, the dorsal fin, is a nice charcoal color. You can't see through it. Gorgeous fish. It's jumping around on my feet at the moment, and the captain's taking the hook out as we speak. So here at Sodus Point, not only is the town and all the places around that we've seen just gorgeous and old school, but being out here on the water, they have some beautiful fish. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous fish.
What a day.
What a day.
So we got Captain Jimmy back.
Jimmy had to lose the headset for a second, but Captain Jim, thanks, boss.
Very, very nice job, Liz. You did a great job on it.
Nice pick.
The steelheads are very, very difficult to get in because they are very acrobatic. They do a lot of jumping.
That thing was jumping all around, almost like a tarpon would or a bass. Yeah.
They're fun. They're fun to watch, but it's very nerve-wracking because, regrettably, a lot of them do get away because they jump around. So you've really got to keep steady pressure on them. And about the time that you kind of relax, they get away.
Yeah. Yeah, the second you take any kind of pressure off that line, they're gone.
And they're high flying. Leanna's steelhead was out of the water like crazy. And this one here, jumped like 3 times.
The big ones, when you get into the 10, 12-pound category, they have the capability of coming out of the water as much as 4 feet.
Really?
They'll just come out like a big rocket. And most cases, no one even moves for a rod because they're in such awe of what they actually see.
Yeah.
And then when it finally registers to them that they should grab a rod, regrettably, the fish is gone.
So now we have a little yellow bird in the boat. It is up sitting on the windshield. It just flew in the cabin, and the girls are getting pictures of it and hanging out with the little bird.
We're dangerously close to limiting out.
Yeah, we are.
This is wonderful.
I've eaten probably half a big bag, the big bag of M&Ms this morning.
Yeah.
I've snacked like crazy, and I have totally relaxed. I actually feel relaxed for the first time, and this is a nice vacation. And I didn't really know what was going to happen.
Yeah.
This is a surprise from Leanna and Will to bring me and Lacey up here fishing. We didn't know we were staying. I've never met Captain Jim before. They, like I said, they've been up here, fishing with him before. But the boat's amazing. The Diamond J is awesome, super comfortable.
What size is this boat?
This is referred to as a 10-meter Trojan. It is overall about 37 feet in length. It has a beam of 14 feet, and it's probably weighs about 18,000 pounds.
Wow. Yeah, and this morning I was saying that everything was flooded, and that includes Captain Jim's dock. It's actually underwater where he docks this boat, so he had to move his vessel to another dock site on a floating dock. And this 37-foot boat was not built for this, so when we got on the boat this morning, we were actually parked in like a 28-foot spot.
Yeah.
And to fidget it out of there without running over sunken everything that's under the water that shouldn't be was he drove this thing like a rocket scientist right out of there.
Oh, yeah.
Missing things by inches. It was...
And getting it in will be worth the price of admission.
So he's got to back this boat in.
Instead of pulling out, he backs it in.
And I didn't know how we were going to pull out, so I can't imagine backing it in. Yeah. What's the water temperature up here right now?
The bay water is 60 degrees. Where we are fishing out right now in this 100 to 200 feet of water is right now is about 50 degrees, 50.7, and then we do have one of our baits down about 100 feet where we've grabbed a couple of fish.
Yeah.
And they down there it's 44 degrees.
Gotcha.
So it's the temperature varies again because of very deep water.
Yeah.
The current moves the water around, and when I say current, it's mostly wind current because we don't have moon phase currents similar to the ocean. Our currents are based off of wind, mostly with the water coming in from the Niagara out of Lake Erie in and then going out the St. Lawrence Seaway. So we definitely have to take into consideration the currents, the speed, and if you hope to get the fish to bite, you really got to make everything move so that they are impressed with what they look at.
Sure.
And they are very finicky. Every day is a challenge with different colors, different things. Sometimes you get lucky and they'll take the same thing for 2 or 3 days. Other times you'll come out and
have to switch everything up.
Yes, everything that worked for the last few days, you can't even catch a cold on out here.
Yeah.
So
I believe it. That's fishing, man.
But we get used to it. Right now we're enjoying some lake trout. We have some steelheads. We've caught some small kings that we released.
Oh, yeah. I caught a small king this morning. It's my bucket fish. I got a bucket fish king.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's off the list.
Yep.
So it doesn't matter what size, right?
Nope. Does not matter. I caught a king.
We're looking to find some of the bigger kings. They're in the same waters of where we're fishing at now. So it's only just a matter of time. We're going to hit one, I'm sure, before our day's over. And it'll, it's every day's kind of an adventure out here, which is what I think keeps myself here.
Yeah.
And keeps bringing people back to fishing on Lake Ontario.
Yeah, I'm sure that you have a lot of repeat customers like us that you've got to know over the years.
Yes, I have. I actually now have been fortunate enough that I have just about third generation people. I started with a young group when they were very young, and now they brought their fathers, and now the fathers are coming, grandfathers.
We are. I just want to remind everybody we're live, and
there's some floating debris in the water, so we constantly have to be checking it out in front of the boat. Because of the fog so dense, we come up on tree branches and floating logs and other things very quickly.
And also too that 30-year flood has got a lot of the debris in the water right now.
And it's amazing. I would have thought the exact opposite. I thought this much water, this much flooding water, how different everything would be as far as the lake goes, would actually probably turn the fishing off. But Captain Jim says that it's probably some of the best fishing in a while.
Yeah, I would say it's like Captain Jim had to jump off.
Yeah.
But I would say that he's kind of reminds me of Forrest Gump right after the big storm.
They just slammed everything right after it stormed.
They couldn't catch anything before.
I can't even begin to describe to you guys that are listening that there's only a couple things that could even make this day better, and it isn't sunshine, the fog lifting. It's a gorgeous day just the same with that. But if we could have the other 6 of our brothers with us, that would probably be the only way it would be more epic. Other than the fact that it's the visibility, I can't really see the bank, or I can't see anything, and I know we're far out, but it's just really surreal. I can't explain it. It's almost like that movie Town in the Mist or in the Fog or something.
Absolutely.
It just rolls in and rolls out. It's so thick. You can see 100 yards and you can't. And it's
sometimes
pretty gorgeous.
6 or 7 boats around us. Sometimes, then like a moment later, we're like right now, we're out here.
And that's a good point. For being a weekend, a Memorial Day weekend, we haven't really seen that many boats. It's not really that crowded out here. I thought there'd be boats in every direction, like you'd see like on Wicked Tuna or something. But we've seen maybe a dozen other boats out.
Yeah, no, it's not. It's just us. A lot of times.
Normally, you would see. I think normally there would be probably some more boats out here at this time of the year. But again, due to the flooding, a lot of the marinas are not putting boats in the water. Normally, Memorial Day weekend is just this place is on fire. Not necessarily out here where we're fishing, but the bays, the entire town.
Yeah.
Again, because of the heavy flooding, there's. I would say Lake Ontario right now is probably about 3 feet higher than she should be. And I know to many people listening, 3 feet may not seem like a lot, but it's basically enough to flood all the little towns that are connected to Lake Ontario along the bays and stuff, because it is just so much water.
What's the reason for the flood again?
Right now, it's been just the fact that during the course of the winter, they had a lot more rain than they anticipated. The ice hit all the bays like it normally did, but it went out early. Well, then, as soon as it went out, within about 3 weeks, it came back again, went back out, and then right after it went back out, most of Lake Ontario on both the Canadian and the New York side received one of those 30 to 35-inch snowstorms.
Yeah, the monster ones.
Along with about days and days of rain. So it pretty much just slammed them in the core, just couldn't keep up with adjusting the locks to allow for water to get out. And then at the same time now, Montreal, Toronto are basically underwater.
Yeah.
And they are suffering some severe flooding. So is as it goes out the seaway, the water's starting to flood all the way along down towards the Hudson, towards New York City, and then also the Ottawa River is flooded from a lot of rain and an abnormal amount of snowfall where it actually begins.
Yeah.
So it's almost like a perfect storm, only a perfect flood, because there's so many different things that are affecting.
Are the other lakes? Would you know if the other lakes are feeling?
Yes, they are, and of course that also. Lake Ontario is at the end of the line. Yeah. We are the last of the Great Lakes. The water starts in Superior, works its way through Michigan, Huron, eventually goes into Erie, and then through the Niagara River, dumps into Lake Ontario.
It's pretty wild to see a town that has the houses, the roads, sandbagged, trying to get as much water out as possible, and save as much as possible. And you can't really get a grasp for how bad the flooding is unless you'd be here to see it in person.
Yeah.
And I feel really bad for some of these homeowners.
I wasn't expecting that at all. It's usually this gorgeous little fish town.
Yeah.
Very quiet and very clean and fun. And we just...
Well, imagine, 240-mile long lake that's up 3 feet. The displacement of water that must be
is incredible.
It's unfathomable how much water that really is. And there's docks underwater, and you can see the water that's already up in people's houses in the basements, and I'm talking everything from little shantytown houses to really expensive, fabulous houses. And
this isn't going to go away till anytime soon.
Yeah.
No, they're saying that they expect it will be somewhat subsided, maybe if we're lucky, by the 4th of July.
Wow.
So the whole community, all of the surrounding areas around Lake Ontario, still have close to 1 month to endure this.
And then after that, then cleanup starts.
Yes.
And then you can clean up. So the rest of the summer is going to be just a nightmare for some of these small town people.
Well, for some of these people, there's no cleanup. Their homes
are gone.
They're destroyed. There's no way that they can that they're going to survive it. Some of them will get lucky, and all they'll have to do is replace the carpet and the floors
in the basements.
In their homes. But for others, there's structural damage. It's stayed wet long enough that they're just not going to be able to recover from it. So it'll be interesting, as is always the case after floods anywhere, to see how FEMA deals with the people.
Yeah.
In the long run, there's really no good way to look at this.
It's Mother Nature at its finest. She'll do what she wants.
Yeah.
And
in '92, when I seen this happen, the last time it wasn't anywhere near this bad. In '92, I think it got me to the point where I was still able to use my dock because there was probably about a foot of freeboard. Right now, not only do I not have the foot of freeboard, my dock, the water at my dock is about several inches above the concrete that I would normally step on to get into my boat.
Yeah, and just getting out to you this morning, to get to the dock that you were at, the floating dock, there was
I went to the
skids
old dock.
and there was like skids and doors and makeshift stuff to get you out of the water and get you out of the mud just to get over there.
Yeah.
And we hope the best for that this don't happen for another 20, 30 years if ever. That would be the best. But it does happen. And but on a better note, some of these little homes, not all of them got flooded. The home that we're staying in, that Leanna, picked out for us was, I don't even know how to describe it. It's an old captain's house. It reminds me of like New England, and it is just, it's a really.
Just a little fishing house.
It's hard to describe it.
It's got the nautical theme.
Yeah.
And
a lot of fancy woodwork, a lot of brickwork, really cool fireplaces. The ceilings are all on weird angles. Like the ceilings in the bedrooms are on weird angles, and the closets are weird shaped. It almost reminds me of a Cape Cod from up north.
It's like I said, just all part of this little quaint town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you get a chance to come up to Sodus Point, come on up. Don't ask us to come up because you're not coming up with us. We're going to keep this a secret. This might be the podcast we never even put out. This might be the best kept secret out there.
It's something we enjoy coming up here when we can, reconnecting with Captain Jimmy. We're going to take a break here. Hopefully we can get when we get some more fish, maybe we'll jump back on. But we have a couple in the can here. This is just been a phenomenal morning. Like I said, we're dangerously close from limiting.
Yeah, we got 9 keepers in the box already, and it's early.
Yep.
Big fish. Captain Jimmy, thanks, buddy.
Well, thank you for having me on, and I thank you for being on the ride. And yes, we will find some more.
We're gonna just sit back here and enjoy the rest of the day.
We'll get you set up so you can listen to our podcast on your boat here.
There you go. I appreciate that. Thank you.
All right. See you
later.
Take care, everyone.
We're back on the Diamond J Charters, and Brother Will's hooked up, and he's got a big one. He is on a fly like 80 feet down, and he's got some heavy. It's taking line. Old Will's reeling her in on the back of the boat right now. She's coming up. We don't got no color yet, but you can tell from the way that his forearm's flexed and he's got it tucked under his left arm that she's a heavy fish. Lana's out here snapping pictures. Lacey's all excited. Captain Jim's giving him a play-by-play on what to do with the rod. And Will's doing great. Up and down slow, pulling up, reeling down slow. He's doing awesome. Will, you should see the look on your face, man. That is the exact look why we do this. In the field, on the water, he is just stoked right now.
Good look out.
I can. This is a nice fish, Stevie. This is a lot like that big striper, man. That big striper that bent that big pull over. And I don't really. We're gonna do a play-by-play here. I have to edit some of this, chop it up, but it might take a few minutes to get this fish in. This rod is bent. I mean, it is bent with this Akuma reel, and it's got the rod bent, and the tip of it is, the tip's just going nuts. The line counter says he's still got 180 yet, 180 feet out. We're going to sit here and see what happens. Will's got his knees up against the padded rail right now to give him some leverage. Got the butt of the rod tucked into his belly here. Nice. Somebody grab me a little bit of video of that, Leanna. Just a little bit here and there. Come on there, big left arm. He's giving Will all he wants right now. So it hit the actual rod right in the back of the boat that was on a downrigger. And I'm pretty sure it had a fly on it. Isn't that right, Captain Jimmy? Had a flasher and a fly on it, and it smashed it. There was no little bounce or little bent rod. I mean, it took it. It was stuck in the rod holder trying to get her out, all the weight on the rod. And you still at 180, Will? 160. We're gaining a little bit of ground.
Well, he reeled in 10 feet and lost 30.
Yeah, so Will brought in 10 feet of line and lost 30. So this is a nice, decent fish right here. It seems like it's big. We'll find out as soon as we see color. Oh, I wish you could see this through my eyes right now. It's just an epic morning. The lake is still like glass. Will's fighting out the back of the boat right now, right in the middle of the boat. Captain Jimmy's on it. He's ready to get this fish in. Lana's all excited. She's out here taking pictures. Lacey's actually up in the front of the boat watching for debris. As we said earlier, the lake's flooded right now, so we got logs and trees floating around. And Will's doing exactly what he needs to do. He's going down slow. He's leaning back. And you got to, me and Will aren't no small guys, and you can tell Will's putting some weight into this rod to try to bring this fish up to the surface here. See if I can't get out here a little closer and see what the line counter is. It's at 120. We're gaining some ground. So we are live out here on Diamond J on the boat, like I said, and this is the first time we've done a live podcast bringing you the action via outdoor podcast. And I'm excited. So I'm learning how to tell you play-by-play. It's a little difficult, I know, when you can't see it, but this rod is super bent. There's a ton of line out, and there's a lot of tension on this line. You can tell.
We're under 100.
We're under 100. We are getting them. She's coming up. Will's out here. He's not horsing this fish at all either. We're taking our time. We want to make sure that this fish gets up here so we can get a good look and see what this fish is. And this is all new to me out here, For the guys who have been listening to the podcast for a long time, you guys know that I'm a proficient fisherman, and I do lots of stuff. But I'm out of my element up here. It's a total chill, relaxed day, and these lake trout and steelhead and these big browns. I'm out of my element. So these are all 3 bucket list fish for me. I already got one really nice 10 plus lake trout in the box. And we got color. Oh, here she comes. Oh, my goodness. Don't horse that girl. This is a tank. I mean, I've seen some great whites in my lifetime, but holy mackerel. Tyler Dunn would just roll over right now. Tyler. Oh, my. This thing would knock the hair right off the top of your head, brother. The hockey hair would come straight off. Look at this thing. We've been trolling all morning, and we picked up some great fish. The sonar's telling me we're going 2.2 miles an hour to 2 miles an hour and 51 feet of water, and we are marking tons of fish. I actually don't even think that we're going forward anymore. This fish is so strong, I think it's actually stalled us out. I think it's just like a parachute. Mm-hmm. Captain Jimmy's got the long net out. It's like a 10, 12-foot long net. And we're getting ready to put this fish on the boat. Make sure that I'm still recording because I would hate to lose this, and we are. So Will's now moved a little bit to the right side of the boat and has turned his body, and now he's fighting this rod more to the right than up and down to try to get this fish right in behind the boat for Captain Jimmy to land. And I'm watching it. As I'm standing here in an elevated position, I'm watching this fish come in, and you can see color. It is a nice fish. It's, like I said, I'm out of my element, so I don't know what it is. But it is nice. I can tell by the color of it. It looks like the 40-plus pound flatties that we pull up.
Rock bass.
It's a rock bass. That's the biggest crappie I ever saw. All right, now the leader's up out of the water. I can see the leader coming. We now have the fish back here probably... I'd say he's a good 15 feet from the boat, but we're about done here. Oh, my God. Look at that. He's coming in. His mouth is open at the top of the water. We're now skiing him across the top. He's still got some fight in him, Will. I would say if it wasn't 52 degrees outside, we'll be sweating right now. I mean, he is fighting and pulling on this rod for all it's worth. This rod is bent in a U. Looks like an Ugly Stick commercial. 5 more feet. Yeah! Nice. Captain Jimmy just put him in the net, and it is a done deal. Nice, brother. Nice fish. Holy mackerel. Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
This is a tank. This is a tank, people.
Holy.
How big is it, Captain Jimmy?
17 pounds.
Oh, it's 17-plus pound lake trout. This is a monster. Will, give me some. Nice, brother. Knuckling Will. I'm going to give him the other headset here so he can tell you how it felt.
Holy buckets.
That was a hell of a fight, brother.
Oh, my gosh. This is incredible. So
What a fight.
So my left arm is, I feel like Popeye on one side. But yeah, definitely the biggest lake trout I've seen in my life.
It's a tank, ladies and gentlemen. It is nice. My play-by-play might be a little off. I have not ever announced a play-by-play, but yeah, buddy. Grab hold of it. Ouch.
Oh, easy.
Yeah, he's grabbing a hold of her now for a picture, and I think she just tried to bite him. That's a tank.
Boom.
Yes.
That's a
I'm
tank.
breathing hard a little bit. I apologize.
Look at me.
I'm going to...
There you go. Will's getting a picture from Miss Leanna right now. And I'm telling you, this fish is, let me see, that fish is from my shoulder past my fingertips. And I got a long reach. I got a long arm.
This is incredible. Yeah, wow. Whew.
It like,
Hang on to him too much longer.
look, it bent the treble hook. Oh my goodness, it straightened the hook. It almost straightened the hook out.
Jimmy, how big do you think this is?
It's probably close to 17.
17 pounds.
It's a monster.
Whoa.
It's gorgeous.
Big lake.
Coloration on it is amazing.
Big lake trout.
Look at the teeth on that girl. She's got a mark on the right side of her belly. Looks like an old scar from when she was small. You can see the mark on her. And Sean Holsinger, get your airbrush out, buddy, because I'm pretty sure this one's going to take the cake right here. Get a nice replica mount of that, buddy. That's a nice one. Will,
Yeah.
let me see the forearm. Hold your hand out. It's hard to hold that hand still. She shakes after a fight like that.
Absolutely. Man.
We are on the fish,
So,
ladies
yeah,
and gentlemen.
I'm speechless for the most part.
Yeah, buddy.
Captain Jimmy, I'm going to retire this here to the chest.
Wow.
It literally,
The length of the Yeti cooler.
it takes up the entire Yeti cooler. That is awesome.
Outstanding.
That was a good fight, too. It took some time.
It-
She didn't want to come in, that's for sure.
Thank you so much, Captain.
Great job.
Got the lucky blue towels that Catfish is famous for.
The hand wiper towels. Good fish, brother.
Yeah, boy, that's a big fish.
Thanks for listening to my
Like that
play-by-play. We're going to get back at it here. Hopefully another big tank goes ahead and takes that fly just like that one did. But, yeah, there was no doubt whatsoever. That rod bent and went crazy.
Bend some more treble hooks here.
Yep. You straighten out a hook on a lake trout, you got a nice one.
It's a good day.
Yeah, buddy.
Wow.
Stay tuned, guys. We'll be back.
See you. And we're back. Awesome experience here in Sodus Point, New York. We're wrapping up our trip. Uncle Catfish and I here we got the women with us
Hi, Rutten River.
Hi, guys.
Listeners.
who have, they've definitely been slaying some of these lake trout, putting a hurting on them.
Absolutely. They did amazing for considering how strong these monster fish are. You guys did awesome.
So fun, right?
It's funny to watch. It's actually funny for me to watch such small girls catch such big fish because you never know it. You just attack it. It's awesome.
Lacey, some of the fish she was pulling in are at a minimum of half the size of her.
Oh, yeah.
Most of them were 3/4 the size of her.
Yeah, I got this. It was great. It was a great adventure. Thank you guys for taking us up. It was an awesome surprise trip. It was great.
I can't believe we even caught all three species that we could catch, too.
That's right.
We were able to catch lake trout, which was all of our first lake trouts.
Was it 4?
Was it 4 species?
Yeah.
Sunday morning after a wonderful fishing day. I'm a little fried, but we all caught our very first lake trouts.
Yeah.
We caught a couple steelies,
Steelheads.
which,
Yeah.
by the way, are gorgeous.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, who would have thought, nature could...
They're acrobatic little blue and silver crazies. They're awesome.
Lacey's basically jumped in the boat.
Yep.
Tried to, yep.
She's like, get in here. Then we brought in
Small brown.
a small brown. Thank you, husband, for completing the trifecta. And
Yeah.
then Shane brought in the king.
The king salmon.
Or what I like to call the little itty-bitty baby prince.
He was-
Who will be a king.
He was a tiny prince salmon. One day he will be a king salmon, but nonetheless, he hit a fly that we were down rigging at like 80, 90 feet down, and he liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's something that I brought up to Jim was like, it doesn't matter if they're a foot long or they're 3 foot long. They're eating the same food. And Captain Jimmy's like, they just don't know they're small.
Nope.
That's so true.
Little fish with a big attitude.
Hey, speaking of Captain Jimmy, you want to talk about his first mate? Who basically drove the boat for the last 3 hours.
I was really, really impressed.
Gotcha.
I have fished with a ton of captains, charter fishermen and private captains combined, and I've never met a man with a more calm demeanor and kind demeanor. He let Lacey drive the boat all day, and she's now the new ping queen. One ping, please. Another ping, please. One more time.
Yeah, she was steering the boat pretty much the entire time, watching for driftwood, watching for other boats because of the conditions. Like, if you see some of our pictures on Instagram and Facebook, you're going to see that it really doesn't do it justice, but it was very foggy at times.
It's so hard to see.
And
it's not no small boat neither. This is a 37-foot, 14-foot across, massive, beautiful boat.
10-meter Triton.
Perfect size for
What
small
size did he
fry.
say the motors were?
He has twin 454s.
Yeah.
And at the end there, he blew the carburetors out after we were done cleaning some fish, and the thing will get up and go in a hurry. He let you drive it the whole way back to the dock, in through the inlet and everything.
All except for where he has this crazy spot where he has to park it due to the flood. So he Tokyo drifted that thing right in there.
Oh, what a
It's insane, right?
It was crazy. Meanwhile, the dock behind us, there's a tiny little Tahoe boat that, I don't know, I think hit the dock at least 3 times.
3 times.
Bless their hearts.
In a
The
spot
fact that it was still floating was amazing.
In a spot that was 4 times bigger.
Yeah.
For
I'm
an
not sure what the
18-foot boat.
problem was there, but yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'll tell you why Lacey drove that boat the last 3 hours. Girlfriend limited out.
Yeah.
Or limit out. Whatever the correct English is.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Got her limit and just said, later, guys.
I'm going to drive.
driving
I'm
this.
driving. I'm driving. And I heard a few times from up in the captain's seat today, Lacey going, driftwood on the right, but it's good. We're going to miss her by 40 feet. We're good. We're good. Yeah, you did awesome. Good job. I don't know if I personally could park like a 20-foot pontoon boat in where he parked that huge boat. He's a surgeon, rocket scientist when it comes to parking that thing.
I'm nervous.
You want to talk about a surgeon, too. He broke down, what do we 10 fish, right? 10 total, I think. He
maybe.
broke down
10
10 fish. It had to have been under 10 minutes.
Oh, he's amazing. Yeah,
he filleted them up, and we have a cooler full.
and not just filleted them up. Like we got the table out, filleted them up, cleaned the boat, put them in the bags. We're back on our way. He's been doing it for like 30 years. He said as a captain himself, and another 10 plus as a deckhand before that.
Yeah,
and he knows his stuff. He really does. Amazing man. Definitely ask him about the stories of his life as a deckhand if you ever get to fish with with Diamond J Charters, and ask him about his life as like I said, a deckhand. You could bring up the injury to his leg. I'm not sure, but he has a pretty good story about that.
He's 8 years old.
Yeah,
he starts as a deckhand, just
driving a flywheel
insane
60-footer.
stories.
Yeah,
with a bridge.
Yep, up on the bridge.
Take him out. If you guys go on a Diamond J Charters tour up in Sodus Point, do what we did, please. Invite him out after you dock. That town is so quaint and so charming. The reason why he goes out of that port is because he said his clients can have a one-stop shop. They can stay, walk to the dock, walk to these wonderful places to eat, have dinner, have a couple of drinks. And really, there was a live band there last night.
Sure was. Yeah.
Lacey and I went boutique shopping in
shop.
the town. Oh, fudge shop.
What was
Good souvenirs.
What was the name of the dinner place we went to?
Marlins.
Thank you, Lacey.
Or Gilligan's.
I kept calling it Gilligan.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, Marlins was awesome. I mean, while everybody was done eating dinner, we jumped out back with Will and we caught bass. right off Topwater, right off their back porch.
Using the Whopper Plopper.
Right off the back porch, too.
It's amazing.
New York bass in the bag.
It really was. We had some amazing seafood.
Yeah, I wasn't quite finished eating it, and I was listening to the captain's stories, and this dude come in and said, "Do you know that guy?" And I looked back, and Catfish is holding a big
I didn't even know he left the table.
big largemouth bass up. He's like, I think he caught a fish out there. That's classic Catfish.
That was good. No, the trip, the fishing trip was phenomenal, but the fishing trip isn't over until you hear some of the amazing stories of Captain Jimmy at dinner. That completed the day. Like it wouldn't have been the same without it. He is such a good storyteller.
He really is.
Mm-hmm.
The icing,
thoroughly enjoyed his story.
The icing on the cake, though, has got to be where we stayed and the people that run.
Can we just shout out to Margaret and Larry of the Wickham House Inn right now?
It was amazing.
We ended up having dinner with them as well.
We drug them out. Actually, before that, Lacey and I drug out Margaret. It was like, 4:30, and we were trying to... It's a beautiful boutique town, so, shops close around 5:30, 6:30, so I grabbed Lacey. We walked down into town from the Wickham House, and right before we left, Margaret sort of shouted out, "Hey, guys, stop at the Harbor Bay Hotel." They just bought this rundown hotel. They're renovating it, and it's a martini bar. We're like, sure, no problem. Well, we rolled in, and Lacey goes, "What am I going to do? There's 180 martinis in this menu." 180. So we called Margaret and said, "Margaret, walk down here right now. We got to have martinis with you." We sat out. We had a plate of loaded nachos and
They're good.
these martinis. The best thing I love, I've known Lacey for 10 years. The best thing I love is taking her out for drinks because she's not a drinker. I'm fairly skilled at it. And I try to get her a different array of drinks because one of these days I'm going to crack the drink that she likes. And if she doesn't, I get my second round. There it is. Her drink is my second round.
Every time you guys go out, she gets a drink and a half. The other half of your drink.
But Margaret was wonderful. She came out. We talked all about how... she's a wonderful storyteller, too. She, just like everybody in Sodus Point, a small town, you hustle, right? You've got many side jobs, lots of things to do. So Margaret actually runs the restaurant that we ate at.
The two restaurants in town.
Two towns.
She manages.
She's into everything.
Also manages cottage rentals, too, right?
I think so, yeah.
So she went to tour this house, which... kind of run down, someone had neglected, and they were getting ready to sell it, and she went to tour it for the person that she runs the property management company to say whether or not it would be a viable property to rent.
Right.
And she went with the owner, and they walk in, and the owner goes, "No way, I'm not buying this house." And Margaret said, "Good, because I am." And she said she just walked in, and she just knew. And you know what? The love that they have for that property just pours out. Every nook and cranny.
You can see it.
They're restoring the hardwood floors. They're restoring, get this, folks, the hardwood ceilings.
You don't see that very often.
You don't at all. They're, searching on eBay and lots of other places for historic period pieces, like historic tin tiles to add to kitchens that would have been in the period that the house was built.
It's literally like this little...
it's a
captain's house.
It's a captain's house.
Yeah, it's an old captain's house.
Stained glass inlaid in the windows and doors.
Larry said he's getting ready to redo that fireplace in the sitting room downstairs because somebody at some point decided to paint the brick, and they got to get that paint off there to restore it.
Well, that property is in the right hands. And you know what? When you get up and you have to meet Captain Jimmy Del Real at the dock at 5:30, and when Captain Jim says meet me at the dock at 5:30, that means everyone's on the boat.
Yeah, it's not 5:30.
At 5:30. Yeah, everyone is there. You got your safety instructions. We're pulling out at 5:30.
Yeah, because
they had coffee and breakfast laid out.
Yeah, Captain Jimmy's
by 4:30.
got one thing in mind, and that's putting fish on your rods. He wants you to have the best chance you can get. He wants you to be there on time.
Captain Jim referred us to the Wickham House Inn, so they have a great relationship. They know exactly what Captain Jim expects, and it was no problem for us to to have what we needed to get on the boat. Like I said, like she said, the coffee was there as early as we needed it to be.
I love
there.
the screen porch outside.
Yeah.
I hung out there a
great.
good bit into the late hours last night and ate the rest of my 8-pound lasagna.
It's insane.
They gave me so much lasagna at dinner.
This restaurant.
It was
is
big
so
enough
good.
for 4 people, and it was good food.
I'm on this slight carb restriction right now. I'm trying to be better, and
The 8-pound lasagna wasn't on your
lower
list.
some weight. And Catfish looked at me like, "What am I going to do?" And normally I would be there for you, bud. I normally would be there, but I couldn't help my best friend in this time of
I'm
need.
not sure your Roddy Ruger could finish. He would try,
He
but
couldn't.
it was that big of a lasagna.
Ruger's 100+ pounds. That
Called
lasagna was,
Garfield.
25? I was going to say Garfield, but I was afraid
Yeah.
no one would remember that.
I had it
I'm
for
glad we're
dinner
young
last
enough
night.
to remember Garfield.
I ate it for breakfast this morning, and I have the other half of it for dinner tonight.
That's all right. Do you know what I love? The sense of community in that little town.
Everybody was
Like,
nice.
Yeah.
You said when Captain Jimmy hurt himself, Margaret, that owns the Wickham, and Brenda, that is the actual restaurant owners, they nursed that man back to health. And just like the friendship that everybody in that town has together. I mean, when we were out at dinner, so many people come up and shook hands with the captain and Margaret and Larry. And, Larry did a lot of work in that restaurant to make it look so nice. And
It's very, very tight knit. And,
Yeah,
and
I like that.
when Jimmy injured himself, his family were on a plane
They were in Florida at
heading
the time,
south
yeah.
for Florida, and
By the time they got
for a
back.
vacation, and he was on his way to surgery when they found out. So, for the first couple days, he was being waited on hand and foot.
They're all like that. I could see the whole town.
yeah, it was
All
very
the people,
touching.
all the people that we met were all the same. They were there for each other.
Shout out to the people at the fudge shop who literally walked Lacey around and handpicked out some great souvenirs. I won't
Was
say
that
what
the
they
name?
are. The fudge shop, was it?
Yeah.
The fudge place? The
Yep,
fudge
the
shop?
fudge shop.
Nice.
I mean, it was just great. It's like the fudge shop / general store /
Where you buy your souvenirs.
you can get your fishing license there. You can get a carton of eggs if you needed
Well,
it.
there's normally a bait shop there, but it was closed because of the flood. So the fishing license.
But you know what, folks? Don't be surprised when that town doesn't come back bigger and better than ever.
Oh yeah.
Because there were tons of restaurants being rebuilt.
Yeah.
And
And
the
it's
spirit.
by no means shut down right
No,
now.
not at all.
Get out.
No.
I mean, seriously, that's not the fishing is phenomenal.
Yeah.
I feel like, I was telling Catfish that it's almost like Lieutenant Dan and Forrest Gump, after the storm, like they're just.
The fishing came on. Caught everything.
There was one period of like 5 minutes where one rod hit. We got that. You got that fish in, catfish, and then 2 other rods hit at the same time.
Bang, 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 bang. Yep.
And it was just.
Yeah, the first lake trout. Everybody was nice enough to take me fishing, and they. I'm not used to doing nothing, like I said earlier on the podcast that you heard, but to pick the rod up and get the first fish of the day is very uncommon for me, and to do that was a nice gift. And sure enough, it was a lunker lake trout, and it was
It set the tone.
It did. It set the tone. It was a lot of fun. But if you want to go up there, I suggest that you stay at the Wickham House because it's awesome, and check the town out. Go fishing with Captain Jimmy at Diamond J Charters, and give yourself a good solid 2 days. When we got back to the house after fishing, we were pretty whooped. Like, make sure you got all, fish Saturday, go out all day Sunday, check town out, go out to eat, and before you go back, because I really wish we had a second day to stay longer.
Yeah.
And take your bass rod with a whopper plopper or some kind of topwater bait, because there is endless possibilities to throw for bass right before dark within walking distance of the house in every direction.
Well,
there's water everywhere.
Like I think we may have covered this, but Sodus Point is covered by water on 3 sides. It's literally just this little peninsula that juts out into Lake Ontario, and so the opportunity is there. It's awesome.
Yeah.
So if you want to get a hold of Captain Jimmy, it's DiamondJCharters.com. or you could just type in Jimmy Del Real on Twitter. The man tweets insanely for a sea captain. You can give him a call at 800-838-6487. Send up a flare, Jimmy Del Real salmon signal, I mean, whatever. And you know what? Jimmy can go ahead and book your room at the Wickham House. If you want to contact Margaret and Larry, please do, because they're just quality human beings, and you can find them at Wickham House on Facebook. I think they're only on Facebook right now, and that's WICKHAM House. Or you could do what I did, just started texting Margaret, come meet us out for drinks. And you can get Margaret at 315-483-6758.
Did you have fun there, Captain Small Fry?
I did.
Yeah. When Lacey actually admitted to me, because, this big surprise from you guys has been so much awesomeness, that she was like, we're going fishing for trout like Sean catches. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a trout fisherman.
Right.
So she's like, I don't know much about trout. I was like, I don't either. So it'll be a surprise. And we get up there and we get these, 3.5, 4 foot, looking lake trout. She looked at me
15, 17 pounds.
It was like 1 a.m. last night. She looked at her and she's like, I had so much fun. She's like, I had no clue trout were so big. And, the fact that he let you drive the boat all day is just a giant plus. That was awesome.
It was necessary. We needed her eyes for sure.
Yeah. I had a great time, guys. Thank you.
Thanks for letting us be on the podcast again, fellas.
Of course.
Anytime. Where can they find us at?
We are at www.ruttenriverpursuits.com. We're on Google Play Music, iTunes, Stitcher. We've been touting the Castbox.
Yeah. Check out these pictures from this fishing trip and follow us on Facebook and Instagram.
At R2 Pursuits.
At R2 Pursuits, yep. And I'm pretty sure we Twitter a little bit, but, you can follow us individually on all them social media outlets as well to see what we're up to. One of the 8 guys in this group is in the field every day doing something fun, so there's got to be something new to look at.
Yeah, boys are all over the place this weekend, Memorial Day weekend, so check them out. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys. Go get outdoors.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Rut and River Pursuits podcast. Follow the R2 Pro staff by searching Rut and River Pursuits on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Until the next episode, we need to see you in the outdoors.